Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone joining this morning. And welcome to our Mind the Moment Tuesday morning mindfulness session brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. And this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them, and also to process as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. And I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I'm delighted to have with me this morning Mary Starr Green, who is a mindfulness instructor and longtime meditator. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Suzanne. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, it's nice to be with you this morning.
Great to be with you all too.
Yeah, so today we will start off with, Mary will start us with a question to get us chatting this morning, and then she'll guide us in a guided meditation practice and share some thoughts with us at the same time. And after that, we will have a chance for questions and comments from the group. So if you can go to the bottom of the screen and open up your chat. If you have any questions, initial questions, you're welcome to type them in now, if that feels right for you. And also, there's an option at the drop-down menu in the chat. You can choose both panelists and panelists and attendees, so you can see all the comments as they come through. And that's it. So Mary, how would you like to start us off this morning?
Yeah, well, I'll just say that I'm really inspired right now, this day of late April when the weather is gorgeous and Earth Day, it's the week of Earth Day. And so thinking a lot about the natural world. So my question, and it kind of has little two parts, is do you have a favorite way of connecting to the natural world? You know, whether an activity or a location. That's the first part. And the second part is almost the how does it make you feel? Right? So sense of place, and it doesn't have to be grandiose, you know, it could be out your back window, you know, your backyard. So the place and how it makes you feel.
So I've got walking in the woods behind my home. I have to say I can get to a forest pretty quickly, and the forest just gives me a sense of solitude and connection with nature.
Yes.
Hiking in the woods with my dog makes me feel calm. Barbara. I live near the beach. I'm so jealous. I love when it's warm enough to have my windows open at night and can hear the waves. Oh, lovely.
Wow. Yeah, those are lovely. I mean, we can still let a few more roll in. I can relate to all of these, and hiking in the woods, but with the dog too. That almost amps up the sense of natural world, doesn't it?
Mm, yeah, boy, do they connect with the natural world. Going for a hike under a canopy of trees or any beach. Boy, that's perfect for me. And seeing the morning sun rise up over Boston.
Yeah, wonderful, great, and there might be more rolling in. I don't love the sound.
Yeah.
Right, so we pick and choose the things with the natural world. Wonderful. I'll just relate to being at the beach. You know, I grew up, I could bike ride to the beach, and I will still travel back up there just to get that sense of connection with the ocean. Yeah, birds. Thank you.
Dinner on the deck. Our home backs up to some green space and a pond.
Wonderful.
Right.
You know, I think we all know in a very deep way just the importance of the natural world. I mean, that's almost an understatement, but just the sense of healing we can get from it. There's, you know, hopefully a sense of care and reciprocity involved with that too, but really kind of at a deep knowing that there is this connection. We are part of the natural world. You know, when we talk about all beings and all creatures, you know, we're among that. So there's very inclusive part of this too. And thank you everybody for weighing in. So Suzanne, what I thought I would guide today is something again inspired by this, and it's a guided practice on the elements. So we can think of elements, and the elements are earth and water and fire and air. And so, of course, our planet is made up of that. We, as human beings, are made of that. Creatures, all living things. You think, Big Bang, and we're all made of the same ingredients in different forms. So this is a meditation, and it is a classic meditation, in as many are, like a metta. And so I'll be guiding you through, and there's going to be an alternating of my guiding with my voice in periods of silence. So we're going to be reflecting on those four elements in a systematic way. And if the alternating piece is distracting, then just kind of let it fade to the background. Connect to your practice in this way. So it'll be about 10, 12 minutes.
Sounds good.
Great. So let's get started. So you'll just first find a comfortable position, sitting or standing, allowing the eyes to either soften the gaze and move from the screen to another point, or closing them all together. Just opening up to what's already here, a sense of space around you, your body as a whole, sounds that you may be noticing now. And just settling into that, what is already here. And so we're just resting the body, settling the body and mind. As our first connection point, and one that may feel very familiar, is the settling of the attention down into the body, dropping your attention right down into the body, and having the sense of the body's weight, sense of gravity acting within the body as stable. And this is earth element. Let me take a couple deeper breaths here and just settle into that. This is our initial point. We can call it grounding. We can sense the connection that our stable body makes with the stable support under. And so earth element is that sense of density, of weight. We can connect to the support that's under us as a sense of grounding. And we can have a felt sense of the earth element within us. So however you experience this, through the structure, the skeletal structure, so sensing bone and weight and mass of bone, of teeth, the sense of the structure of the body as a whole, the flesh and tissues and that which makes up this three-dimensional body. Earth is solid, fairly unmoving. Tapping into this quality within ourselves. And knowing also that it is really connected to the sense of grounding around us, earth around us. Right, the ground itself, the trees rooted, the rocks, ever stable and ancient, mountains, and all that is solid and stable. Earth element we're connected to and is within us. So we're just settling into this quiet pause, reflecting, having a felt sense of earth element within and around you. As we continue to sit here and practice reflecting on the element of water, water, water. Of course, we are mostly water, the body, depending on how we look at it, 60 to 70% water. And quality of water is a little bit more about flow, right? Flow, a little bit more movable. It's a sense of moisture and lubrication. So right here and now, just a very, that first touch in way, where might you sense the water element at the surface, perhaps feeling moisture or dryness within the mouth, perhaps at the corners of the eyes, any particular part of the external feeling moist or dry. Sensing the water element within, right, which makes up all the fluids of the body. Sensing the blood coursing through. With this quality of water, even movement and the flow and our ability to move and flow within the body. And you may, as you're reflecting on this, just know that you may just slightly experiment with a slight sway or having a more fluid sense of the body and its ability to flow. Here we're not trying to create any particular feeling, but just resting in the truth of what is already so. Whether we feel it within anatomy and the physiology and how the joints are lubricated, but just knowing this is part of our makeup, and it connects us directly to the waters of the world, the oceans, we've mentioned the lakes, sense of rain, fog, water in all of its many forms, and the dew on the grass in the morning. So as you continue to rest here, just reflecting and feeling within the sense of water within and around. As we continue this practice on the elements, we're reflecting now on fire. Fire, the fire element, warmth, heat, transformation in a big way. So you may just notice where you might be feeling points of warmth or coolness, just the sense of temperature within the body, within parts of the body. External, internal. Our system is made up in a beautiful way of managing, in a very precise way, the temperature within our body, and that we can sense this externally. And within connecting this to the sense of the fire element of warmth. Also within, in a very deep way, our digestive system, that fuel, the fuel and burning the fuel, and all the processes that are working to keep us moving and working. So as you're tapping into this fire element within, knowing that there is a direct connection to the element of fire outside of us, the sense of the temperature, the sun, most certainly. We tap in also to the qualities of the fire element, the sense of light and uplift. Right. Morning sun was mentioned, so there's no one way to experience this, but knowing that we are deeply connected to the natural world and resting in this. And finally, in our practice, we'll begin to explore a little bit of the element of air. Air is, spacious, light, quite movable, right? You might sense a little breeze on the skin, our ability to sense movement of air externally, knowing that we are breathing beings, of course, sense of element of air, receiving and releasing through our respiratory system. Knowing that we are all breathing of the same air and maybe having some connections to that over this past year. What it means to share the same element of air. Sensing even within the body, the space at a cellular level. And having that sense of lightness, receiving and releasing. Of course, tapping into the quality of air, that greater sky, the winds, a more spacious, expansive. We can rest the body into this. So as we're just settling in these last moments, reflecting on this and four qualities: earth and water, fire and air. Qualities to inspire, qualities that are already there, that connect us to each other, to the world. And knowing this in a very foundational, elemental way. So now we're going to bring this meditation to a close. You may take a deeper breath. If the eyes were closed, just as you open them, reconnect to the space around you, to the room that you're in, to our world together here on the screen. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, that sense of connectedness is very timely right now. And the fact that we're all made of these same elements brings us to the point that we're not very different from one another. Any of that separateness doesn't really apply.
Yes, and we are not separate, right? We are not separate from the world. And, in a sense, this can be seen as, well, it's almost too obvious. And yet we are so quick, I think, to compartmentalize and to isolate out. And so for me, this particular practice is really one of a remembering, almost like a loving kindness meditation is truly the depth of connection. I mean, the interrelationship that we have with each other and with every living being and the natural world itself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Someone has mentioned human chaos makes me appreciate how still my mind can be, whereas peaceful nature seems to make me realize my chaotic mind. Dichotomy, I guess. Yeah.
Interesting. Mm. And yes, and how nature can be, a resource and a reflection of our own human wiring and our own tendencies. Um,
Yeah. I know we were discussing earlier about um, how things are changing with the reopening of a lot of things that were closed during the lockdown, and how I personally was feeling like sometimes it can happen too quickly, that are we, some of us aren't quite ready to make that transition. And as we were talking, reconnecting to the natural world, I think helps us remind us that when spring happens and how gradual the earth comes back, and how we can learn from that. Like, we don't have to go from 0 to 60
yeah.
and try to go back to the way everything was. Maybe we can go back to a different world.
Mm.
And
That, yeah, that's pretty powerful. And you certainly, the beauty of the season, I mean, just the beauty and the lessons that we get, yes, from the seasons. And that transition that you mentioned, and of course, everything is always in transition. Everything is always moving, but I think we've seen that a lot. And as you said, to pace and have a more conscious approach to opening up, and whatever that's going to mean in moving ahead as we're reconnecting and vaccinating and heading back into the office if that's part of the work week, and step by step. I know for me, it's just a lot of permission around how others may see it differently, but also giving myself that same permission to honor, what's going to feel right for me. So
yeah, take it slow and easy as nature unfolds, someone shares. So will our opening of our lives to a new way of life.
yeah, thank you. That is beautiful, and of course, it's all around intention. It is all around intention, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree that I think the natural reminders are important, because just in, like you mentioned, in the opening of things and how things might progress, but also just to remind us of our connections. Um,
Yes, and I'll also say, and I don't even know if I opened with this, Suzanne, and but but mindful movement. So it's primarily a thing that I will offer in terms of mindfulness is movement, and so just whether I'm moving in nature or using some of these more structures of movement like yoga and tai chi that often are calling us to embody elements of the natural world, whether in a mountain position or the tree, or we're flowing as a river with our movement. If you're familiar with those practices of tai chi and qigong, I think there's just that knowing that is again wired in within us, that we can get inspiration from the natural world, that we are of the natural world. Yes, and knowing that we can, there are meditations to actually bring the natural world inside, like seeing yourself as a mountain. And so I'm offering this up at the end only to just say that if you didn't connect with how I was offering it, play around with just the sense of being part of the natural world and just see what it comes up for you.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, no, wonderful thoughts to leave us with. So thank you so much, Mary, for your guidance and your practice, and for being with us this morning.
You're so very welcome, and thank you for everybody for your
Yeah,
kind
thanks.
practice.
Thanks to all the folks that have joined. And as a reminder, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be back with Tara Healy on Thursday at 8:30. And we look forward to seeing you then. So thank you again for joining. Thank you for your commitment to being with us. And we will see you again soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.